Headlines, highlights, the questions burning up the sports world get answered right here. This isn't just another recap. It's the Sports Answer. And leading the charge, sharp, fearless, and always bringing the edge, your host, Rudy Campos Jr. If you're talking sports, you better have the Sports Answer.
Hey, what is up, Sports Answer fans from the Salem Surround Studio? We are podcasting here. This is the Sports Answer. Shout out to Salem Surround 210-526-3635. Proud sponsors of us here at the Sports Answer. Be sure to go to YouTube, Answer Now TV, hit that subscribe button. We are thankful for everyone that has subscribed already and the continued support here with the Sports Answer. Why? Because we've got big things coming here at the Sports Answer. You think you've seen everything yet? It's going to get a lot better. Derek Gervin's going to be back on the show here. Now that basketball season is pretty much over, he's going to be available now to be back on the show. Plus, we also have some more special guests here on the Sports Answer. Again, Answer Now TV. Hit that subscribe button so you are not left out asking, why didn't I get my questions answered by the Sports Answer? Hit that subscribe button. We'll get you those answers ASAP. Salem Surround 210-526-3635. What do we got today? So, the NFL offseason obviously is upon us. You've got the start of the NFL, technically off-season. We'll start seeing guys get franchise tagged. You'll start seeing maybe some trades, signings like that. NFL Combine is up. It's already on its way. It's already going on, but that way it happened this past week. So the offseason's in full gear now. Cowboys did make a move. They made not a surprise move, but they did make a move. We're going to get into here in just a little bit. Also, the Raiders are on the clock. They've been on the clock since they've had the number one pick. What should they do? We're going to answer that for you guys, all you Raider fans out there today on the Sports Answer. Plus, NBA talk. I mean, the Spurs, once we're done with this show, they should already be playing the New York Knicks here, but they are riding an 11-game winning streak. We'll go over that winning streak. We'll give you some keys to that, but also the MVP race. I've got a bold sports take for you guys out there. I know Victor is top 5 in MVP race when it comes to MVP voting. I don't think he gets it, but then at the same time, could something else be hindering why he may not be considered an MVP in the top 2, when it comes to voting? We'll get into that here in a little bit on the Sports Answer. But like I mentioned earlier, the Dallas Cowboys, they did end up saying they're going to franchise tag George Pickens. And I'm okay with it. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think they could have easily outright signed George Pickens. Most recently, they signed Javonte Williams. So they've got their 1,000-yard running back for next season already. And I get the understanding. You've got Jadeveon Clowney, who's a free agent. You've got Sam Williams, Kenneth Murray, Dante Fowler. Not a whole lot of guys out there you may want to use the franchise tag on. So George Pickens did make the most sense out of everybody. I think priority number 1 is you got to get Brandon Aubrey under contract as well. I know he's a restricted free agent. So you've got to get him under contract. That's number 1 priority. Maybe work on George after that. But nonetheless, he's going to be set to make $28 million this upcoming season for the Dallas Cowboys. George Pickens had a rejuvenated career in Dallas with Dak Prescott throwing him the ball. Of course, those games when CeeDee Lamb was out with an injury, you saw George Pickens shine even more. But hey, even when CeeDee did come back, George Pickens was still a very dominant wide receiver. The Dallas Cowboys offense is off to a great start in the offseason by the franchise tag being placed on George Pickens. I think they can still do a little bit better, hopefully in the draft. I know a lot of Cowboy fans, and I think even the team is kind of pointing towards more defensive positions that they're going to be looking for in that first round. But nonetheless, if you have the opportunity to draft one of the better offensive linemen, the Dallas Cowboys could use another offensive lineman to just keep bolstering that O-line, man. I mean, you've got to protect Dak. You've got to open up the holes for Javonte Williams. You got to give Dak enough time to get the ball to George and to CD as well. So I like the move, the franchise tag for George Pickens. I think they're just going to end up signing him to a long-term deal. George does fit, but the thing I felt like, well, using the franchise tag again made a lot of sense. I'm okay with it. There wasn't another player unless Brandon Aubrey was an unrestricted free agent. He would have probably been the first person I would have used it on when it comes to the franchise tag, but he's restricted. So all in all, I would say congratulations, Cowboys. Good move. It was something that we kind of already expected with them using the franchise tag on George Pickens. Do they go out and get another receiver? You've got obviously Mike Evans is going to be a free agent. Tyreek Hill is a free agent, but he's coming off that injury. So you've got a lot of guys out there that are viable third options, I guess, a third receiver building this dynasty, this dream receiving core type of team. I don't think they go out there. I think they do get somebody in the draft. And our fan question actually is a wide receiver question when it comes to the NFL draft. We'll get here just a little bit here, but nonetheless, I think when it comes to defense for the Cowboys, the one guy I could see them re-signing on the defensive side is Jadeveon Clowney. He had 8.5 sacks last season. Uh, Clowney's not he's not lived up to what he was supposed to in the NFL. He was very dominant at South Carolina, but not living up to his potential in the NFL. But with Dallas, again, you get another rejuvenated player similar to what George Pickens, Jadeveon Clowney came to Dallas, 8.5 sacks. I think he's probably a big priority for the Cowboys to sign on the defensive side of the ball. He's probably not going to probably get a whole big contract, in my opinion. He's going to be paid very fair, and he does make a difference for the Cowboys. But nonetheless, not too much ranting on Dallas here. Congratulations, Cowboys. Cowboy fans, you wanted George Pickens to come back. He is coming back at the tune of $28 million at least for this season. Cowboy fans, my sports question to you is, do you think that Jerry does sign George to a long-term deal this offseason, or does he play on the franchise tag for this season, still, again, making $28 million? I don't know if you pay him CeeDee Lamb type of money, but who knows? Jerry is known to spend money. Plus, the salary cap did come out. It did go up, so there is a little bit more money for them to use. Let's get to this sports fan question here. Fan question of the week is from Tired Cowboy Fan. Who is a late round wide receiver the Cowboys should look at in the draft? And lo and behold, I mean, this is the guy that I've got circled right here. It's Bryce Lance out of North Dakota State. Now, he's trending at the 6-7 round, possibly undrafted as well. He's 6'3", 205 pounds, North Dakota State. This is a very big wide receiver. And the one thing that you'll notice about Bryce Lance, if you look at the game film on him and if you look at some scouting reports on him, he's not a very fast guy. He's not a very big yards after catch guy. He kind of catches the ball, that kind of goes down, doesn't really try to fight for extra yardage. But where does Bryce Lance make a huge difference? It's going to be in the red zone. And that's something that if you can get a very good weapon in the red zone, a tall weapon, a guy that can win majority of 50-50 jump balls, then that's what you want to get out of Bryce Lance. This is a guy you want to go get if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan. He's going to be available probably in the later rounds. I actually, when my draft analysis has come out, I've actually projected Bryce to go a little bit higher than round 6 or 7. I've actually got him in the 5th round right now just by seeing a lot of the game tape. But again, this is that player that the Cowboys could use in the red zone. And again, tall player. You just toss it up to him. He's going to catch the ball. You could really rely on him. Something to what we saw Devontae Adams last season with the Los Angeles Rams, where Matthew Stafford was just using Adams in the red zone. Every single chance he got, he was using Devontae Adams. This is the way Bryce Lance would play for the Dallas Cowboys. Like I said, big receiver, great hands. He's not going to run you out of the building. He does run really good route running. I feel like I'm trying to think of a guy, so let me put it, maybe like an Alan Lazard type of player that's not going to jump out at you and be a big time wide receiver, But Alan Lazard has had a whole lot of games where he's moved the chains. He's made those clutch catches in games. And that's something that the Cowboys do need as a third wide receiver, a part of, next to Pickens and as well as CeeDee Lamb, another security blanket type of player that's not necessarily a tight end for the team. That's exactly what you're getting in Bryce Lance. So, question is, who should they go after later in late rounds? I'm looking at a guy like Bryce Lance, wide receiver out of North Dakota State, stands 6'3", 205 pounds for the Dallas Cowboys. Draft coming up here very, very soon. And we'll give you some more draft insight. We'll give you some more scouting reports. We'll give you some players to watch. You guys have any questions on which team should go here? What your favorite team? If you have a question on who your favorite team should go and draft, drop them in the comments below. We'll get to those questions for you at any time. But let's take a look at the number 1 overall pick. The Las Vegas Raiders obviously have the number 1 pick. Now, I on social media, I've been really back and forth. I understand you have Geno Smith. And again, Geno Smith, I think, should possibly be traded. And you can get something. You may have to attach a 4th round pick along with Geno Smith to get him out of the building. But I think when it comes to the number 1 pick, everybody is saying the right things and everybody's leaning towards, hey, we're going to draft. We're going to draft Fernando Mendoza. You hear all the scouts, you hear everybody, all the analysts on ESPN, everywhere says, you go get Fernando Mendoza. He is your franchise quarterback. If I push back right now, give me a second, give me a couple of minutes to explain why I would trade the number 1 pick. Because you've got other quarterbacks, Drew Allard, you've got Ty Simpson from Alabama. You've got other guys that can come in and just kind of steer the ship in the right direction. You're going to hit a lot of rough patches, but at the same time, trading number 1, because let's be real, outside of Brock Bowers, outside of Ashton Genty, and now Max Crosby may not be a Raider next season. Say Max Crosby's not a Raider, or he is. Say he is a Raider. You've got 3 guys that are really your best position players. You have so many other gaps that you've got to fill. And drafting Mendoza 1 to where you could trade number 1, get a bunch of draft picks. You potentially, I mean, think about it. I think Cleveland has 2 picks in the first round. Dallas has 2 picks in the first round. Dallas obviously is not going to trade for number 1, but Dallas could trade for Max Crosby. So the Raiders could potentially get the 14th pick from Dallas, and then maybe another future first round pick. Maybe they can get a 3rd from Dallas this season as well. But then you still have number 1. Move number 1. Why? You can get a lower pick this first round. Again, potentially, if I believe Cleveland's a team that has 2 first round picks as well. Potentially, Cleveland wants to give you 2 first rounds because all they feel is all they need is a quarterback, and they like Mendoza. I would do that. There's no doubt in my mind I would do that. The Raiders have so many positions they've got to get better at. 1 draft pick is not going to make a difference. Fernando Mendoza is not going to come in here and make a massive difference. What makes a difference is stockpiling these draft picks this season for next season. Next season, 2027 quarterback class as it is and as if they all come out is absolutely loaded at the quarterback position. Is Mendoza going to come into this season for the Raiders and lead you to a playoff? Chances are very, very slim that the Raiders make the playoffs, especially in the division that they're in. It's very, very slim that they will make the playoffs. Mendoza, as good as a lot of people say he is, and you know what? Hey, I was a fan of Fernando Mendoza this year. I talked him up high. I love this game. But again, once the season is over and I go into my draft analysis and I go into my scouting reports and I really do my homework for the NFL draft, I'm not so sure I would take Mendoza number one. Albeit he's going to be the number one pick. If the Raiders don't take him and they trade out of number one, there will be a team at one taking him. So personally, I'm not a huge fan of him going into the NFL. I don't know if it's a Kurt Signetti system type of thing, but I see the same amount of cons as I do pros in Mendoza's game for me. Could he develop into a QB1? Absolutely. Anybody can develop into a QB1. But if you think about it, we've seen more legendary quarterbacks, Hall of Fame quarterbacks drafted later in the draft. It's almost rare that we see a Hall of Fame quarterback. I mean, of course, you got Peyton, Eli, who most people say isn't a Hall of Famer in Eli. You've got a few guys that have been drafted number one who are legends of the game, who are Hall of Famers. But we do not see a whole lot of quarterbacks drafted one take that big of a leap. So Raider fans, if you love Mendoza, Tom Brady and the front office, they love Mendoza, they'll take him if they feel he's right. Personally, me, I'm looking at next year's NFL draft class with that 2027 draft being massively stacked at the quarterback position. I am trading out of the number one pick and I'm stockpiling all these picks. I'm getting as many picks as possible. And I'm building that O-line. I'm building the defense. I'm making free agent signings. And that way I have a team already built for a quarterback incoming next year. That is my take on it. Are they going to draft Mendoza one? All the signs point to yes, that they will take Mendoza at number one. I don't think they will trade out of it, but if they do, it's probably a better move that they did. What could they possibly do at QB? Get rid of Geno Smith, obviously. You could trade for a Kyler Murray. You could trade for a Kirk Cousins. Those are two guys out there. I would say Malik Willis, but I think Malik Willis is going to end up in Miami. You could have Tua Tagovailoa. You have better options out there than Geno Smith, obviously. But again, I really feel that you're handicapping Mendoza. You're going to be handicapping just about any quarterback coming in. It's not a very good team right now. Build it through the draft. You've got to build it through the draft. So we asked, draft or trade the number one pick. What do you guys and girls feel out there? Do you draft at number one? Do you take Fernando Mendoza? Or do you trade that number one pick in order for you to get a stockpile of picks, maybe even a player in return? And at the same time, you could move Max Crosby as well and get a bunch more picks. So the Raiders could really win this offseason if they play it smart. They could really win this offseason. What do you people think they're going to do? Draft or trade? What do you guys think out there? NFL's free agency is coming up here. Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans, Anthony Richardson has been given permission to find a new team. Obviously, the Colts love Daniel Jones so much that they're going to re-sign him, and that's going to be their QB. Anthony Richardson gone. Could he be a one-year replacement for the Vegas Raiders if they decide to maybe move from one? Who knows? Kyler Murray's another one. He's going to more likely be gone. We mentioned Tua. Probably gone. There's going to be a lot of quarterback movement this offseason. Look at the running back situation. Super Bowl MVP, Kenneth Walker. Does he go to Houston? That's my landing spot for him. I think he ends up in Houston. I think the Seahawks, hey, thank you for all that you did. We have Zach Charbonnet. I think Kenneth Walker goes to Houston. I think it makes a big difference. They get rid of Joe Mixon. They move on from there. This is going to be a very busy NFL offseason. We're going to see big names moved. We're going to see big names traded, big names signing somewhere else. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. What's more fun than NBA talk and controversial NBA talk? A controversial Spurs question on the horizon when we get back. It's Rudy Campos Jr., the Sports Answer. Shout out to Salem Surround, 210-526-3635, salemsurround.com/San Antonio. We'll be back.
In San Antonio, your business deserves more than noise. It deserves to be seen. SEO, social media, digital ads. If you're not showing up, you're losing customers. At Salem Surround San Antonio, we design digital strategies that work, from web design and SEO to social, podcast, and display ads. Real tools. Real results. Let's amplify your brand. Start today with a free digital presence evaluation. Salem Surround San Antonio, your brand, everywhere it matters.
So, like, I hear about the Spurs this y Spurs that, y como que esto y esta, pero I never hear about the real Spurs chisme. Nine, por favor.
All right, your Spurs cheeseman is, well, you see it in front of you. Spurs are on a current 11 game winning streak. They are absolutely cooking this month of February, especially on a rodeo road trip. You know, we always think the rodeo road trip, oh, it's tough. It's very tough. It's very, very tough. But they've handled it very well. Now, again, they had 2 games in Austin. So technically they were the home team in Austin against Phoenix and Sacramento. But I mean, when you're looking at the likes of February 1st, they started off the month of February with a win in Orlando, and they have not lost. They had an undefeated February going into today's game against the New York Knicks, beating Orlando, playoff team, Oklahoma City, number 1 seed, beating Dallas in back-to-back nights, beating the Lakers, which is a playoff team right now, Golden State, who's in the thick of things, Phoenix in the thick of things, Sacramento, worst team in the league. Then they go to Detroit, and they beat Detroit. Detroit basketball, that is a loss. Then they beat Toronto, who's in the thick of things, and then they go and beat Brooklyn to end the month of February. A perfect February for your San Antonio Spurs. Victor Wembanyama, playing great. Playing at what could possibly be called as MVP basketball. You've seen Stephon Castle throw up a 40-piece in there against Dallas. In that 11-game winning streak, we've seen Vassell as your leading scorer in a couple of games. De'Aaron Fox is the leading scorer. As mentioned, Castle, Wemby. Keldon Johnson was your leading scorer against Oklahoma City with 25. Most recently against Brooklyn, your leading scorer was no, not Devin. No, not Wemby. Not even Fox or Castle or even Harper. Your leading scorer was Julian Champagny with 26. Spurs fans are riding a high wave right now. Even national media is talking about, hey, do these Spurs have a chance to be title contenders? You and I know we've said pump the brakes here. Still relatively young, this team. Not a bad thing, but let's get through the season. My number 1 priority is health. We do not want to see an unhealthy Spurs squad. We do not want to be hit by the injury bug. As long as they stay away from that, they are as good as any team in the league. They have more depth than anybody in the league with the exception of Denver. It's going to be a magical run for your San Antonio Spurs. Can Vic maybe make an MVP push? Let's talk about it. All right, so MVP talk now to end the show here. Who leads the MVP race? Now, of course, you're talking about Nikola Jokic, the Joker. Last year's MVP, Shea Gilchrist-Alexander, SGA. Then you've got the likes of Luka Doncic, Victor Wembanyama, and then an emerging Cade Cunningham. This is our list right here. Sports Answers MVP ranking list. This is what we have right now. We are liking Cade Cunningham right now to be your MVP. Like I said, just as of right now. This is going to change from week to week. We'll give you our week-to-week MVP talk as well and rankings. Derek Irvin's going to give you his. But for right now, the Sports Answer, we've got Cade Cunningham, Nikola Jokic, SGA, Victor Wembanyama, Luka Doncic as your top 5. Now, again, you've got to play a minimum of 65 games, and a couple of these guys are a game or two away from not being eligible. So then you go into the likes of a Tyrese Maxey possibly being an MVP. You can even go Jalen Brunson, maybe might even get some love left and right. These are the guys we have now because as of right now, they are still considered in the MVP race. They haven't quite missed out on that deadline just yet. From this recording right here, they haven't quite missed out on the deadline just yet. But when you're talking about Cade Cunningham, I mean, the Detroit Pistons are 44-14, can almost give you a triple-double nightly. Cade's got Detroit playing absolutely brilliant basketball, a 5.5 game lead over the Boston Celtics, who, again, the Boston Celtics, they could potentially catch Detroit. Maybe. I don't see it. But again, Cade Cunningham has them playing absolutely great. Jalen Duren making a big difference. As a matter of fact, with more injuries coming around, if some of these guys are not eligible, you could even maybe throw Jalen Duren in there for potential MVP votes. I mean, that's how good Detroit's playing right now. It all starts with Cade Cunningham. It really does start with Cade Cunningham. And, he's got guys like Tobias Harris, who's playing really good. Duncan Robinson can shoot the lights out. Detroit stands atop of the Eastern Conference, and that's kind of why when you're looking at everything, I see Cade Cunningham with the biggest jump that Detroit. Now Detroit, they had a playoff appearance last year. We've been high on Detroit the past couple of years, telling you guys, watch out. This Detroit team is loaded, and they're going to get it going here very, very soon. They're doing that now. They did it this season. Last year was kind of a teaser. It was the trailer before the actual release of the movie. This is the movie. Detroit Pistons are legit in the Eastern Conference. That's why I think a week ago we said that we have Detroit coming out of the Eastern Conference because they are far and beyond the best team in the East. Then you look at the rest of the league here, Nikola Jokic and SGA, two guys that are potentially going to maybe miss being able to get MVP votes, miss out on the MVP race because they may not hit that 65-game threshold. But again, Nikola Jokic, triple-double. He's averaging a triple-double for the entire season. He's got to be up there. He's the only guy that I think if he can maintain to get to that 65-game mark, he's the only guy I can see that can maybe upend Cade Cunningham for number 1 on the MVP rankings. Shea Gilchrist-Alexander, again, the best team in the West, but think about that for a second. They are the number 1 seed in the West, but are they truly the best team in the West? Shea gives you godly numbers nightly when it comes to scoring, but that seems to be it. It's just scoring. So if we're ranking him, it's going to be because he's the number 1. He's the number 1 coach. He's the number 1 seed in the West. That's kind of why Shea's there right at number 3. I'm going to get to Luka now. Luka is Luka, man. The Lakers are not doing great. They're 35-24, 5th or 6th in the West. It's not like Luka's putting up, these monster numbers. And again, when you go to like number 5, it could be Luka. I mean, you can throw Maxey, you can throw anybody in there that you really want. I'm not going to argue with that. When it comes to Vic, when it comes to Wemby here, I would say people inside of San Antonio would have Wemby as top 2, maybe top 3 when it comes to MVP voting, and that's your argument. But the way I look at it is Vic has turned the Spurs into, in my opinion, the best team in the West right now. It's a massive turnaround. They're playoff bound. They could be number 1 seed bound in the West. But then you look at Victor. Is Victor really the reason why the San Antonio Spurs are having this huge turnaround? Now, again, this is the controversial part that we mentioned at the beginning of the show here. Victor has led the team majority of the times in scoring. He's also had a lot of games where he's had 12 points, 10 points, 7 rebounds. He's had off nights, basically. So what I think hurts Victor is the fact that he's, yes, the face of the franchise for San Antonio. He's the main hub, the main guy. But his supporting cast around him is, in my opinion right now, the way that they are playing is far more superior than a lot of the other guys in the MVP talk. If you really know basketball knowledge and you really can understand that, you'll understand that. You'll understand the fact that because he has such a great supporting cast, it kind of hinders him on that MVP talk. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It just means the Spurs are that damn good. And it's not just because of Wemby, it's because of the team that surrounds Wemby. Now, yes, Wemby's going to get some MVP votes. He's playing great basketball. But what I want to see is if he can go into these last couple of months, these last 2 months, just be dominant on both ends of the court. You already are dominant in most games. I need you to be dominant in every game. Be dominant in every game on both sides. And I guarantee you will move up on these MVP rankings really, really fast. But right now, the question was asked. Derek Irvin and I have talked about it. Is he even the best player on this team? I'm going to leave that for you guys out there. We're going to discuss that next week because there could be a player on the Spurs roster that could end up being better than Victor. Can you imagine that? But nonetheless, these are our MVP rankings going into this week here for the Sports Answer. Again, Spurs play the Knicks today. That's hopefully they get the win there, move their streak to 12 games in a row. That would be, that'd be awesome right there. 12-game winning streak just to keep it going. They've got a really tough stretch coming up. They've got the Knicks. They've got the Sixers in Philadelphia. Then they're back home against Detroit, back home for the Clippers, the Rockets, the Celtics, the Nuggets. This stretch right here is going to determine how good this Spurs team is. We're going to get into that next weekend and see how brutal the Spurs stretch right now went for them. Hopefully, we're still talking about a massively long win streak. Appreciate everybody that has joined me here today, here on the Sports Answer. Again, shout out to Salem Surround 210-526-3635. Derek Irvin's going to be back here very, very soon. We've got a lot more surprises, a lot more content, a lot more shows for you guys coming here on the Sports Answer. Again, proud sponsors are Salem Surround 210-526-3635. And remember, if you have those burning sports questions, drop them below. Why? Because we will give you the correct and the best sports answer. See you guys later.
You've been listening to the Sports Answer with Rudy Campos Jr. Today's show was brought to you by Salem Surround San Antonio, helping local businesses grow with digital strategies that work. Visit salemsurround.com/San Antonio to learn more. We'll see you next time on the Sports Answer.